Imagine for a moment standing before the most important decision of your life. A choice that would define the future of humanity and be remembered for all eternity. This was the reality of Pontius Pilate, the man who, with one single gesture, washed his hands and changed the course of history. He wasn't just a random figure mentioned in one instance in the Bible. Pilate played a crucial role in one of the most dramatic moments in the scriptures. And surprisingly, his story is not just about politics or power. It's a story about choices, cowardice, and the cost of ignoring God's call. You might think you know Pontius Pilate, but today, I'm going to tell you something you've probably never heard before. How did this man rise to power? Why did he make the decisions he made? What drove him to wash his hands, delivering an innocent man to be crucified, even knowing it was wrong? And most importantly, what were the catastrophic consequences of his choices? Get ready, because Pontius Pilate's story doesn't end at Christ's cross. It goes far beyond that. Before we dive into this historical and spiritual drama, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button now and activate notifications so you don't miss any content like this. This simple gesture ensures that you'll stay connected to our transformative messages and impactful stories. Done that? Let's get started. It was the 1st century AD, and the Roman Empire was at the height of its power. Rome ruled territories stretching from the British Isles to Egypt, from Spain to Asia Minor. This vast empire needed strong, resolute men to govern its provinces. And it was in this context that Pontius Pilate emerged, a member of the Roman elite, appointed prefect of Judea between AD 26 and 36. Under the reign of Tiberius Caesar. His role was clear: to maintain order and protect Rome's interests in a region marked by religious and cultural tensions. Judea was a powder keg. The Jewish people, deeply religious, believed their land had been promised by God to Abraham. For this reason, Roman occupation was seen as an affront to divine promises. While the Romans worshipped multiple gods, the Jews were monotheistic and devoted their lives to the God of Israel. This cultural and religious divergence made Judea a region constantly in conflict. As prefect, Pilate did not hesitate to use force to impose Roman authority. One of his most controversial acts was attempting to build an aqueduct to bring water to distant regions. To fund this, he demanded the temple in Jerusalem finance the project. The priests protested, claiming the money was sacred. Even so, Pilate threatened them with higher taxes, and they ultimately gave in. When the people discovered the agreement, they revolted, leading to protests and, tragically, executions. But none of this compares to what happened when Jesus of Nazareth was brought before Pilate. Arrested by religious leaders on charges of blasphemy and proclaiming himself King of the Jews, Jesus was presented to Pilate for judgment. And here begins the most dramatic point of this story. In the 4 Gospels, we find different accounts of Pilate and his interaction with Jesus. In Matthew, we see a man of weak personality, unable to make firm decisions. He offers the people the choice to release Jesus or Barabbas, a known criminal. Matthew also tells the story of Claudia, Pilate's wife, who dreamed of Jesus and advised him not to get involved. In Mark, Pilate seems inclined to release Jesus, but gives in to the crowd's pressure. Luke highlights Pilate's attempt to shift responsibility to Herod Antipas, while John portrays a more arrogant Pilate, mocking Jesus and questioning his kingship. Pilate knew Jesus was innocent. He interrogated him and heard his declaration, "My kingdom is not of this world." John 18:36. Despite this, the fear of a popular revolt led him to hand Jesus over for crucifixion. Before making his final decision, he publicly washed his hands, symbolizing that he would not take responsibility for the act, but that gesture did not absolve him of his guilt. After the crucifixion, Pilate continued governing Judea, but his reputation kept deteriorating. He ordered brutal attacks against Galileans and Samaritans, prompting Jewish leaders to request his removal from the emperor. In AD 37, Pilate was summoned back to Rome and exiled to Gaul. Far from power and consumed by guilt, he took his own life. What do we learn from Pontius Pilate? He had the unique opportunity to stand before Jesus Christ, the Son of God, and acknowledge his divinity. But he chose fear, politics, and oppression. His story reminds us of Jesus' words in Matthew 6. If the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? Today, Jesus stands before you. How do you see him? As a historical figure or as the Son of God who came to save the world? Your answer may not change who Jesus is, but it will certainly change the course of your eternity. If this message spoke to your heart, share it with your friends and family. May God bless you, and see you in the next video.